has been studied, but not very popular because of its lack of efficacy. It's not very effective though. That is a pitfall, and as well as if there is a room, that we can also see a room for improvement there. Since it's not very effective now, that doesn't mean we should stop using that or stop developing it. Maybe we can make it more effective by doing more research like yourself or inspiring some other people to do it. And also I wanted to talk about the devices and how we use devices in health sciences. We came so far in health sciences. Average lifespan of a human being was around 30 years in early 90s, early 1900s. Now it came up to almost 60s, purely by science and technology, nothing else. So I would like to share a few things that that inspired me to do some research and be a clinical researcher, and also inspired some of the young minds here to pursue research in their lives as well. The epilepsy, when it was first documented in the history, in like 1600s, even before that, people used to think that there are demons in the head that are causing seizures, and they used to drill holes in the skull to let those demons out. And they used to think that helps, but it's very crude method and it never helped. In 1920s, Hans Berger, a psychiatrist in Germany, finally figured out how to measure brain activity with EEG. EEG is an electroencephalogram that we can measure the brain waves, just like EKG of the heart, we can measure brain waves with EEG. And the initial phases of EEG was to place sharp leads into the skull. It's a painful procedure. And with purely by advances in science, we can now put a sticker-like thing, a lead on the brain, and can record EEGs. We came a long way. And except for X-ray, we didn't have anything until 1970s. 1970s, we used to look at the brain through a very crude method called pneumoencephalogram. What we did was we placed the patient on the table, drill a hole in the back, put a bubble, and let the bubble go all the way into the brain and take a picture of the brain. Very crude, not very informative. And those were the days that practice of medicine really suffered due to lack of advances in science. In 1970s, the advent of CT scan revolutionized how we look at brain and other organs in the human body. The electrical engineer who championed the development of CT scan went on to win a Nobel Prize in 1970s. His name is Hansfield from England. And that revolutionized the way we look at brain and other brain disorders. 1980s, we came along, we had the MRIs. 1990s, 2000, now we have PET scans, SPECT scans, MEC scans, and everything. We can see every single part of the brain with very specific detail. So, the reason why I mentioned the advancement in science and all these neuroimaging techniques is there is still a lot of room. It's not going to stop. The MRIs started with 1.5 Tesla, the low magnification. Now we can look at 7 Tesla. We can even look at with a bigger resolution. So these are all the things that we can only achieve with critical thinking and scientific inquiry. So never stop thinking critically and inspire yourself to pursue that path. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was the CVD. Saminagar mentioned that it was a painful procedure to obtain CBD and especially prescribed by the doctors. I want to share the clinical researcher and a physician perspective. Why we take so much time to get these things approved? The first thing in the clinical research is do no harm. I remember one of the early studies with CBD was in Europe. They recruited, it's an open label study. They included approximately 200 patients, and out of those, approximately 20 patients had very severe side effects during the CBD trial, and one patient died during the trial. Imagine 60 million people in this world with epilepsy, and 1/3 of them having refractory epilepsy, which may or may not benefit from CBD. If we open the floodgates, everybody will start using CBD. And if one person died out of 200 people, we are looking at hundreds, thousands of deaths. So for that reason, we take so much time. We take a lot of time to look into things before approve any new intervention or device or drug into the market. It came through not very good lessons we learned in health sciences, in clinical research. Sometimes we get desperate. I totally hear your point, because we see, even I see patients, a lot of patients with refractory seizures. We educate the patient, but these are the options. Again, if we approve something in a hurry, we do more harm than good. So that was one of the reasons why FDA took so much time to get it approved. And as you mentioned, CBD will also interact with other medications. It's a very strong enzyme inducer in the liver. What it does is inhibitor. It increases the blood levels of other medications. And some of the patients in those trials experienced toxicity and side effects from having too much medications in the blood. So these are all the things that we learn as we go. And again, CBD absolutely, it helped. The FDA approved it for Lennox-Gastaut syndrome and Dravet syndrome. And I get a decent number of patients every now and then in my clinic asking for CBD for their regular focal epilepsy. It's a difficult conversation. It's not easy. Because a lot of times patients assume that CBD would completely cure their epilepsy, which is not going to happen. They stop taking medication and they end up in the ICU. And it may not be the best thing for them. And we also need to be mindful of the fact that we don't know very well what are the long-term effects of CBD on the brain. We are just looking at seizure control. We know that smoking marijuana for several years can damage the brain. We know for sure. So probably CBD in a long run may cause cognitive issues, may cause depression, anxiety. We don't know. It may affect their performance in school. These are all the things we also need to know. Every medication, every intervention in science and health sciences come with a price, and we have to be educated on all those things. All right, I will stop preaching and
One clarification. Even though we started CBD, Azim is still continuing whole lot of medications. Azim every day takes almost like 40 capsules a day, and then among those 20 are for seizures, and then he takes seizure medications, and then he takes CBD both. After we started CBD, we didn't stop other medications because everything works together. Nothing works all by itself. And then Azim is under neurologists, they test his blood level every month to check how his liver is doing. But coming from 30 seizures a day to 2 or 3 seizures a day, it's like a big change for him. And then regular mainstream medications also gave him the side effects. So it's like for us, there is no choice. sometimes we ended up having no choice.
Absolutely. So some of the decisions what
Yes.
you do came somewhat out of desperation. I clearly see that. I see a lot of patients who wants to go that route, and I have no reservations. We often take that route too. I see decent, not decent amount, but a few patients with ALS,
Yes.
lateral sclerosis, and most of the patients die in a year or so, depending on where we diagnose. They get very desperate, and I see their mind, and I let them choose whatever they want to choose. And the most important question I ask is, if somebody wants to go pursue a fancy treatment that does not have any biological plausibility to the condition, I ask the question, how expensive is it? If they say it's like $50,000, I want to say, what do you think about it? If it is like, $200, $300 and you want to try it just out of curiosity, sure. I have few patients who read online that stem cell treatment cures Parkinson's. And they went to Mexico and spent 50K, 60 grams for nothing, and came back and took the same medication. It's very easy to get cheated when you are really desperate, and it's very easy to make mistakes when we are desperate. But we all make evidence-based decisions. That's what science is. We will wait for evidence. Not easy, it takes time, but I think that's the best course we have to. And also we have to offer to the patients, and patients are also, there is kind of a disconnect there. We purely come from the evidence standpoint, and there is a lot of caregiver fatigue from your side, and there is an emotional component. You are seeing your kid going through all this, and we have to kind of step into your shoes and try to help with the decision. All right. Any questions from the young minds? Sure. Have a question? Oh, sorry. I thought you did.
So let's take a break, and then we have some snacks, grab some snacks and water, and after that we have Nandini and Rohita presenting Science News of the Month. Help yourself.
Auntie, when should I start asking the questions?
You can start now actually.
It's 4:30. I don't think you were on yet. The bathroom real quick.
Yeah.
నా ప్రెజెంటేషన్ బాగా వచ్చింది
బాగుంది.
నాకు ఇక్కడ వచ్చేసింది మధ్యలో
దట్స్ ఓకే. కానీ ఐఎమ్ సర్ప్రైజ్డ్ ఎక్కువ మంది
అది చెప్పాను
గ్రూప్లలో పంపించాను.
కాదు, ఇట్ డజంట్ మ్యాటర్.
ఓన్లీ చిల్డ్రన్స్ అనుకుంటున్నాను,
పిల్లలకి
పిల్లలే, అందుకనే పిల్లల్ని మాత్రమే పంపిస్తుంది.
డజంట్ మ్యాటర్, ఒక్కళ్ళు వచ్చినా చాలు. నేను అందుకే చెప్పాను, ఎందుకంటే డిఫరెన్స్ అని 1 పీపుల్ని చేంజ్ చేసిన.
Gulnaz, did you take the emails of them? Did you take their emails? Elders.
And I also understood that actually that there are so many things that as a person actually that I can as a not I did not know kind of how a mother feels like or how a parent feels like an every person. That is one thing that I understood. Other than that, actually, what do you want to let's start up like this. you are the question. How do you balance the post work and whatever you are doing? So, but I like that he said that it's a pure passion, right? That made me, work on it actually. That made me, I did not think about anything else. I like that part. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was asking if one of you can go
Yeah,
and
cover other
other people instead of both of you doing it the same place because we are running out of time.
In the future, try to like 3D print and something like streaming. Sure.
So this will give the electrical impulses, right?